here's part 2. Going forward, what to do with the Notre Dame fire, how to handle the drama around it, how to try to stay out of the drama, and how to create your reality the way you want it, to choose the most optimal timeline. How do we do that? How do we balance the paying attention to what's going on the negative side, but not putting so much attention on that you end up creating more of it? So that's what this is about today.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So I'm thinking, like, when you have something so big as this, which, yeah, the more I think about it, the more it feels very much planned. It's that it's going to, it's going to tug on the heartstrings of many people because of how you lay out your identity of who you are. Right? So you have all these French there who, and everybody who feels for them in sympathy and empathy, that this building is a world icon. It is, if you want to do pictures of what is Paris, it'll be the Eiffel Tower and the Notre Dame Cathedral. So to have that destroyed is something that affects them very emotionally. And yet it's a building, It's just that we attach so much to it. So we've got to find a way to turn that around and go, well, thank God thousands of people didn't die, right? I'm just thinking, I'm going a little bit zigzaggy here. I'm also thinking about in Christchurch, I know they had their shooting, but before that, some years ago, they had a very big earthquake because it's right on the edge of the tectonic plate. And it knocked down their cathedral, the Christchurch Cathedral. Completely fell down, like all the bricks, just a pile of bricks. And so, of course, that upset people, not the same as Notre Dame, because it's obviously a lot more new. New Zealand pioneers arrived there in the 1840s, so it's a much newer building. But it did upset them that it had fallen down. And yet, when I had been dealing with the channeler, Francis Evans, the channel was saying, well, here's an opportunity to let go of the past and rebuild something stronger. So by turning your intentions towards, well, okay, that's what's happened. That's where we're at. We can't go and change the past. If this is where we're at right now, how can we make the best of where we are right now?
That's a very good advice for all things in life. It's not always that easy to do when you're emotionally triggered. So I would say that when your emotions are high, it's appropriate to discharge that. If you're sitting here and you're a Catholic, say, and you're a history lover, and Notre Dame was your favorite place, and you used to pray there, and this is really hitting you, going, okay, let's just go forward with that, right? That's not going to work because there's just too much emotion there. So you take the time to process out the emotion, get it down on a scale of 1 to 10. I usually say between 3 or 4, just sort of gauge it out. 10 being like, I'm so unmiserable, I can't stand it, I'm sobbing my heart out. Yeah, to 0 being
don't
peace.
Care. Yeah.
Right. It's not that you don't care, it's just that you're at peace.
Yes.
Right? It's like, oh, I'm good. It's all fine. There's nothing jumping around in my emotional body.
Yeah. And also the idea of pushing blame, like somebody has to be blamed for it. That is not helpful either, because the people, as we said in the last video, if there is any insurance claims involved in this, you can bet that there will be people out there absolutely determined to find whether it really was an accident or not. So all you can really do is trust. If you know something, of course, see something, say something. But if not, then you're just going to have to let go and trust that process will go ahead. It's not about
And the reality is, the average person, is not actually a part of any process of finding any possible perpetrator and prosecuting them.
Not in the physical, no.
No. So our job is on the emotional or spiritual level.
That's it, yeah. When you get to the psychic point of skill that you can literally see how it started, then fine. I don't know if you can use that in court, but, fine. But because most of us haven't got that sussed yet, and we will do, I feel we're really stepping up very, very quickly, and it won't take long before these kind of things will not be able to go ahead, because too many people would see right through it immediately. They'll have their psychic powers advanced enough to everyone will see it, and you just can't get away with that anymore. So they can at the moment, right? But for the rest of us who can't see that stuff just yet, then yeah, looking after yourself is the key, and the people around you, and comforting and releasing the emotions, isn't it?
Yes. Having somebody, if you have somebody who's willing to listen, to mirror you, that sort of doubles or triples even more the intensity or the fulfillment of that act of that. It works so much better is what I'm trying to say. That you just feel like, oh, somebody gets me. That's what all our souls are trying to find. Trying to find somebody who will just hear me and understand where I'm coming from. So the other part of what our job is to really, like we were saying, be conscious in our intent of what we want to create, what we want to manifest.
Before we go on to the future, looking at like manifesting the future, can I just ask, can you think of any good questions that people could ask themselves while they're coping with this that would help them work their way through it? I'm thinking, for example, if you're very upset because a building has burned down, can you look into yourself and go, well, what was the most upsetting things about this? Considering nobody died, in theory, according to the news, why does it upset me so much that a stone building has been destroyed? You know, right. What does it represent, and what's left behind in this world that is still represented by that? So what have we really lost?
Good.
Can you think of anything?
I would say, what are the actual emotions you're feeling? Mm-hmm. Are you feeling grief? And to go to sort of the core words for them. So instead of using sort of the sophisticated, watered down adult version of annoyance or irritation, just say, I'm mad.
Yeah.
You know, basic. So that takes it to the basic, what it is. So that, you know, are you feeling grief? Are you angry? Is there sadness? Are you feeling hopeless, helpless, powerless? Where do you go with that? I would imagine there's just a lot of grief and a lot of anger. So the next thing to do with once you've isolated or recognized what those emotions are is to put the words with it. What are the words your mind puts to it? What is the meaning that you have to this event that is causing those emotions to come about? Which is kind of like what you were saying, because let's see, information or events in their own are neutral. It's whether or not there's a part of us that attaches to that or associates with that or thinks that somehow that's me. You know, like we were saying once before, right? If I said, Annabelle, you're a zebra today. Mm-hmm. You're acting like a zebra. You just go, you know, but if I said, you're being a dumb blonde, you know,
right, then it might trigger something. Yeah.
So if you have a trigger to something, you've got to look at where whatever that is within you. And don't attack people.
Yeah, don't attack people, because we don't know at this stage as to how it got started. And I have a feeling that they've been trying to stir up, you know, separation ideas in this sort of the vandalizing of churches and stuff more recently there anyway. So are they trying to get people to think, therefore, you know, if these churches were vandalized, they were probably done by non-Catholics, and therefore who's the most likely culprits, and let's blame them for Notre Dame. You know, it's just we're not that kiddie-ish anymore. We are growing up and we're becoming more sophisticated and saying, let's look at these individuals.
Some of us
are. Some of us have just got a puppy dog photobombing in the background.
Oh, no, not the puppy dog. Mira.
Hello. The tail's going.
Your cat did the last one. My dog's doing this one. We got to always keep one of these little beasts in them.
That's
little
it.
Pup. Okay, so
all right, so let's look at the future stuff then. That's where we're going from now. So how you react, we've talked about this plenty of times before, how you react to these crazy things. It could be worse. It could be like a Fukushima where like an entire city gets wiped out and you're standing there going, okay, this wasn't just a building. This was like everybody's home along with a whole bundle of people. Trying to cope with that would be even bigger. But we don't know what is coming in the future if there is bigger stuff. We've had this talk about the solar flash as to what will happen there. We don't know. So learning to cope with unexpected things, no matter how big, is going to be a very useful skill for every person.
Right. If nothing else, the planetary changes, we're going through more volcanoes, more earthquakes, more extreme weather. There's just no way of avoiding that. I don't know. Maybe there is a reality we can find that doesn't have that stuff happen in it. I guess if there's if God is infinite potential, then there's an infinite possible realities.
Well, it is.
Somehow I'm
even
not
the quantum
sure
scientists talk about parallel universes, and I very much see that as well. And it's so sophisticated; it would blow your mind that every tiny little choice that we make along the way, or whether we trip over that stone there, it's the butterfly effect as to how it would ripple out and make a very different pathway each time. It's just too much for the brain to imagine that every person in the world, or every cat and dog, can make that difference and generate a different parallel pathway. But how we can merge them together or create and manifest what comes up in the future is very much to do with this powerful mind that we have.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've had a little bit of experience with parallels, not on that huge grand of a scale, but I did have an experience where I was going through some really difficult times. And one morning I woke up and I was like, what room is this?
Oh.
Whoa, where am I? You know that feeling when you wake up in a hotel room or something, you're not sure where you are at first? Mm-hmm. It was like that in my own bedroom. And then it sort of went loop, and it gelled, like my memory of my home came back, and I was like, that was interesting. Okay, let's get on with the day. And then I realized the heaviness that had been weighing me down, the worry and the fear and the grief and all the other whatever it was a lot lighter.
Oh,
like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I can take on the stuff I have to take on to deal with this situation. And so what I realized was that my divine self, higher self, took one parallel version of me that was having an easier time, and I guess living somewhere else, and switched us out. And I've had experiences of blends before where I'll wake up and I'll feel like, when we get real close and you get back onto the same timeline.
Yes.
So I believe it, and I have even grokked it somewhat. But something like there's a part of me that doesn't really believe that I can create a reality that doesn't have the major changes coming that have been predicted. Mm-hmm. By a lot of different places, from the Mayan calendar to all kinds of ancient prophecies to science channel. What's one? Diehold Foundation, if you want to go into it, or Suspicious Observers for solar information, if you want to check it out. So because I don't think I can do it, I don't think I can do it. You know what I mean?
Collectively, we could do it. Maybe it's just not an individual thing. If there's, like, you can, we talk about law of attraction changing things around our own life, which we've figured out pretty well. We can work that out. But big stuff, like Fukushima style, disasters or solar flashes, if everybody was able to join together, I think we could make a difference.
Probably. I think the point I kind of really want to make is, you can't create anything without imagining it first. But if you're imagining something that is so far away from anything you believe you could possibly manifest, it's not going to work.
Right. So the idea is just bend it a little bit, right? I think in one of our earlier episodes, I was talking about the Sleeping Beauty idea, and the evil fairy comes along and she's going to die, prick a finger under spindle and die. And then the next fairy comes along and says, well, look, I can't completely undo that, but we can make her go to sleep for 100 years. that idea of just bending the story a bit is something that we can do. So if we look at, let's right now take a look at this Notre Dame. Cathedrals come down. To me, it looks like they are trying to set up a religious war or something, turn the heads of the yellow vests so they're no longer against the government, they're against another religious group instead. What if we could bend that story and see the potential in all those people and saying, these people are not as dumb as you think. They're a lot more awake. I truly believe that. I am not going out on a limb there. I believe they're far more awake than the perpetrators, whoever they may be, imagines. And we can imagine that all of those people of any religious group will go, no, we're not falling for that. We know there's been vandalism in other churches. You are not going to get us squabbling amongst each other. We are still united with our yellow vests on, pointing our finger at the fact that we want corruption removed in France. And if we can, for the rest of us, if we can push that forward as our intentions, then that is going to be changing things. That affects things. It opens the potential for anybody there within that country to go, hey, yeah, I am more awake. I get that. I see what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I had just this sense as you were talking about that of like a snowball. We've got the Mueller report going, okay, well, that conspiracy's been busted. And then what if this conspiracy gets busted? And it just starts this whole process rolling where everybody's just going, wait a minute, what? This was all a lie? I mean, this could be a really grand way to wake people up all around the world.
Yes. And it's because it's such a big iconic building, it's high profile, it's hit the world news. It's the perfect space for everybody awake to go, oh, we're not falling for that. Wake up. And more of them will wake up there. I like that. So it's kind of like,
felt good.
It does. Yeah. It does feel, I can feel it as well. So it's kind of, it's not just a meditation circle idea where we all have to sit there and hum and om and focus on it. It's just a matter of, why don't we throw a story backwards and forwards here, and then whoever's watching this can go, yeah, that's what we want to.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah. And you can throw that out and spread it around, and then more people can see it and fall in line with that idea as well. Let's make a better future.
Find your excitement. That excited me.
Yeah. So
when something excites you, it's you're being on the path that your soul has chosen.
Right.
That's your signal that this is where the best path that we want you to go on, your soul or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. And that's that excitement. So I think that's a good thing to do. Take around, like, what can you feel excited about?
Maybe we could do one of those once a week.
Focus on that.
So, maybe once a week, or if we find things that turn up in the news that don't feel good and look like they're heading in a rotten direction, to turn it around, make the news story. Yeah, I like it.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Let us know if that's something you like. To find the positive way of because that's what our job is.
It is.
It's not your job, Annabelle. It's probably not anybody who's watching this job to go out and chase down the bad guys and arrest them and everything. But
they're keen as hell to do it, right? And if we can put the wind at their back with our intention, then we've got the power we have. Fabulous.
That's the ultimate blowjob.
Not my, I don't know. Sure, I could do better than that. I'll see you next week. You don't know.
We might end up editing that out. See this? We didn't.
We like being naughty sometimes. All righty. Yes. So we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.